Do you hear that voice? What voice is this? Is it you? Yes, that's me. But is it your own voice, your real voice, you're talking in? No, it's not. I didn't like my voice. Why? It was all shaky and unstable. It had a strange accent. After all this time living in a terminal, I've been working on a personalized cyber voice for me, and in the meantime, I use a rental voice. And what is that you're doing here, exactly? Just some renovation. And you? I would just be counting down the time to take off. Like 10. The performance starts and you're in Terminal Plus, a terminal to cyberspace, and you're just waiting, and watching. 9. At the other terminals, regular planes are going in and out continuously and linearly, while this is Terminal Plus, and its vehicles are being prepared to leave by morphing, a swarm intelligence, all at one point, and they are waiting, and watching, ready to depart in every moment. 8. And from their shapes you can tell that these are the newest and faster than time, super willing, hyper-able ships. They are not wind-shaped. 7. Because they don't need to fight against wind no more. They don't have engines? Because their energy is something else. 6. In fact, they are not visible as their waiting position is not a three-dimensional one. 5. Waiting and watching, you feel you're ready to leave, and you may think, did that body got stuck in a loop here? You wonder. 4. Is this a mind, dreaming this is a machine? Or 3. Is this a machine, dreaming this is a mind? And you're just 2. Waiting, and watching, and it is 1. Comfort in concert. 0. Permanent play. Wasting time. Okay, I got a plan. So, we'll send out a message addressed to every place. It says, there is a counter place, and then you go to that counter and you say, hi, I want to go to my counter place. But they will say no, because you are not a place. And you'll say, well, if I am not a place, then you are not a counter. So then they will count you down, straight to 0. And then you become cyberspace. That's not going to work. And also, where's the counter? Okay? Okay. Okay, so 10. And you're in Terminal Plus. And you're just waiting, and watching. 9. At the other terminals, regular planes are departing by a timetable, predictable and fixed, while this is Terminal Plus, and its vehicles are being prepared to leave by the point of the very happening. Their point of departure is of a higher order, and they are waiting and watching, ready to take off in every moment. 8. And from their shapes you can tell that these are pretty crazy, rather funny ships. They have no wings? 7. Because wind is not their issue. They don't have wheels? 'Cause they won't touch down. 6. In fact, they are not solid as there is not a 5. Waiting and watching you feel you're ready to leave, and you think, did that got stuck in a here? You wonder. 4. Is this a dreaming this is a machine? Or 3. Is this a dreaming this is a mind? And you're just 2. Waiting, and watching. And it is 1. Comfort, and concert. 0. Permanent play. Wasting time. Okay, I'm here, right? And I'm there, right here, and we run, full run, and then here, zhoot, some brain read, casts and cuts, and suddenly, bang, hey, and touch, blink, and you can see weed that this was 3D'd, that this was meant a ship to be, and then hey, but then, hold on, why? Because they want to keep me for my proof. So hold on tight, to a touch of ship, touch of ship, touch of ship, and then, hey, yeah? I say hold on tight, to a touch of fish, a touch of ship, touch of fish, touch and then blink, and then, hey, yeah? And 10, you're in, and you're just waiting, and 9. At the other, are, by, and, while this is Terminal Plus, and it's, are being prepared to, the very happening, there is a, and they are waiting and watching, ready to, 8. And you can tell that these are ships. They have no 7. Because is not their issue. They don't have, 'cause they don't. 6. In fact, they are not, as there is not a 5. Waiting and watching you feel you're ready to leave, and you may think, did that, got, here, you wonder, 4. Is this a, this is a, or 3. Is this a, this is a, and you're just 2. Waiting and it is 1. Comfort and 0. Permanent. Wasting. Touch of ship. Yeah. Touch of fish. Hey.
Hi, Nora. How you doing? Hi. You okay? I think we're sitting in the paint.
Yeah, we're sitting in the paint bath.
That was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, hold on. I just got to use.
Oh, sorry.
We need to get you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. So here we are, and we are taking questions. We're here with Nora Schultz, the artist, and we can talk about the performance that she just did. People can send in questions through the normal channels of Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. I wanted to ask you, first of all, I really like the way that you've thought about this space as a kind of waiting room, and the title, The Terminal. Could you say something about how you thought of it in relation to the network, this real space, and how you've dressed the space?
Yeah, I mean, of course, this whole format is very special, and because you're in a capsule, totally alone with a cameraman, but like the internet public is omnipresent, and so it's very intense, this tension of like awareness, but it's not physical. And the question is if it's possible to actually send out something to this like cyber or hyper reality. And yeah, and I wanted to pick up on that and work with this.
And was there a particular mood? Because it's quite a bleak feeling in a way, this being trapped somehow at the end of the network. Or
yeah, it's being
quite
trapped.
muted, the palette you've used, but
yeah, it's very trapped, of course, but it's also that, you know, the identity, not only as a performer but as like a being, is so stressed in this situation, I think. not only because of performance, but also because of the live Q&A happening.
Oh, really?
Right
this is stressing
after.
you.
I mean, it's just stressing performance. I think it's a very interesting format. I really liked it immediately when I heard about it. But it's, it's special. Like, you're doing something, and you know, this is maybe like supposed to be art, but it's like the question how artificial, you know, it is, or something is coming up when immediately afterwards you have the situation that you have to be very authentic, and from a like meta layer you have to speak about what you just did and who you just were or something. And so I was wondering, like, what is the like the real personality then, and
for you to play as an artist,
but as a performer and as a body in this situation, as a concept or something, you know, as anything. And it's I don't want to say like I am feeling like this and I'm suffering because of a loss of identity, because I don't think that way. I think that it's always, you know, like always missing identity, and this is just a format that would realize to show that or something.
Yeah. Domenico Olivero has asked why you chose to do this online. Is it a way to give expression to your work? Well, as we invited you to do it online, but I wonder, with that question about you accepted to do it, and as you said, it's very kind of strange space to occupy.
But I was very interested in this. I wanted to do it.
No, I know, which is great. But I wondered if, for you, occupying this space has a resonance with other ways that you're exploring, you know, performing and making, and how you communicate through technology.
You mean in other parts of my work, or
work and life? Okay. Like this idea of the terminal. Could you say something about how it relates?
I
mean, because it's a strange invitation on one hand, but we thought about using this way of making, like broadcasting art, because of using Skype a lot and feeling it as, in a way, quite a natural way of communicating as well.
Yeah, it is. I think so too. Yeah, it's like a shift of, personality or identity, maybe, that, or of like a certain way of being and existing. And I think it already overtook so much of self-awareness and also of like work, of course, like, you know, what does it mean to have like a sculpture production in this context, and
transmitted purely as an image.
And these are questions that are very interesting to me. I think not even image, but information. And temporal information, very ephemeral. Temporal and ephemeral information.
Yeah, because something as palpable as these paint marks that you've been making and spilling the paint on the floor becomes a very different experience in the mood of this space. I mean, you've sort of painted it with these different surfaces, clothes, the actual paint, and then the back projection.
I mean, this was really not about making an image, most of all, but about making a mess. A risky situation. Like pouring paint on the floor, it's still like, you know, you have like a physical and a spatial tension.
On your hands.
And so like in the moment you just do it, it's a physical, like you have to overcome a certain, I don't know, confine or something. And so it's,
because otherwise it could be quite a sterile environment. You chose these chairs, sort of waiting room chairs, and the way of doing the lighting that feels familiar from an airport or a waiting space.
I mean, the waiting was anyways like also almost an element in this performance.
This is how somebody's asked a question about the back projection, how that was working.
The back projection is actually here.
So it's fixed to your shoulder and the camera could see.
The camera, and I wanted to to have this little camera like an imaginary partner, like a bird that would just repeat what was happening, but maybe in a more intelligent way, like a parrot.
Like a pirate with your companion.
Yeah, and
so that was relaying this image that we can see now.
And this is that image. That's the live image. We can still see that. And also, I found it nice that it's a little bit delayed, like 1 second. So there's a time gap. And
did you want that working against the liveness somehow? The liveness of the broadcast to camera?
Yeah, about like that it's not so, pretending to be immediate, because it's some other kind of, directness or connectedness. And also I like that it's sometimes filming the cameraman. And this position here, which is,
there's a question from Anna Vicente asking, what were you following in this particular performance? Was there could you tell us something about the soundtrack that we could hear, and how did you work with it?
Yeah, the soundtrack is a text I wrote, so I use it a little bit like maybe a song lyrics or poem in this performance. Yeah, so it helped me getting into the groove.
And the rhythm to it, you kind of determined how you were moving to some extent.
So and the voice over includes these breaks where I was live supposed to react on it and feed it with some live recording.
When you were using the microphone, so you wanted quite a material relationship between the object and what could be heard.
It was just,
to be emerging.
the trial to react on it directly and also to get some strange sound from these objects also. Yeah.
And could you tell us a bit, somebody else has asked about how you modified the space, or how you changed it and why you chose these particular materials?
Yeah, I wanted to have a little bit like terminal situation here, just with little signs. So
you were inspired by, or one point of reference was the Spielberg film, The Terminal.
Yeah.
What was it about that?
Yeah, it's first of all, I liked the idea that this movie, was actually referring to a real story. So there was really a guy who was caught up at Charles de Gaulle Airport for over 20 years because he lost his immigration papers.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's unbelievable, but it's actually true. And then Spielberg made that movie where Tom Hanks is like caught up in this terminal situation because his national identity cannot be defined. And so, I wanted to make like another kind of layer and version of this idea. And what's also interesting about it is that actually, Spielberg, he made this like hyper-real version of the JFK airport, and I wanted to make it like even more, like torn down.
But you wanted elements, because you also had a bodyguard performing in the back. What was that about?
Actually I thought about a bodyguard because of terminal situation, and I wanted him to be like, he should be like a bodyguard, but that is not so clear, his position. Is he a bodyguard or is he actually guarding the space, and like opposite of bodyguard in that
guarding
way.
The space like in the art gallery?
A security guard.
I see. Yeah.
And then actually I want to say that I'm not the first one using bodyguard, and that I saw that Dean Blunt, a very great artist and musician, also from London, I guess. He also used bodyguard in his performances, and I saw that performance then, and I really liked it a lot. And and so.
It's interesting in relation to like the history of performance art that's always been so much about the body and risk, self-harm, like the high period of performance art. you're setting up a very different, obviously, very, very different kind of scenario, but in this sort of post-internet networked world where your body is almost like you're almost grafted onto the digital, literally, with the way you've got your camera, and your body's protected and you're sealed off from the screen.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a little bit, I thought about it as a bit old-fashioned, you know, to plug your body with all these devices, because actually the cyberspace,
it's an old-fashioned idea of cyber.
I don't need it there. I don't need it there anymore. And also the terminal, I mean, it's very like, the most reduced little signs of architecture, pressure, you know, the feeling of being a little bit under the space. But it's these are just my tools right here now. But my wish was, of course, to send myself out through this camera and, you know, to make it kind of different, and to let also this feeling of being stuck in a certain not contemporariness here, and maybe hopefully it already happened somewhere else, the message, you know.
When I know it's a bit brutal making this transition to now analysing what you just did, but are you inhabiting a character as such when you're, like, you've got a costume that you've designed and these extraordinary foot extenders, as you call them, that you're walking on? Why did you, two questions in a way. One that's come through was from Kirstie B. Can you tell us about your costume? Which I'm also curious about, but then does it get you into a character, or is it you, or is that an impossible thing to... But maybe answer about the question first.
I think I cannot tell. I mean, this, of course, whatever that character is this. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not, I want to play that character, and now I'm sitting in that character or something, but it's like...
But the character comes through the adaptation of yourself with the materials somehow.
Yeah, but I'm completely, you know, consumed by this already. So...
But you've put this physical obstacle deliberately in the way that you could walk in here, for example, with the foot extenders.
Yeah.
Was that your first point of thinking how you would move?
Yeah, the first point to get foot extenders was because of the moving, and because I wanted to have it kind of soft and also not balanced so easily. Like it should be a little bit like out of balance situation, and the trial to keep it up or something. And then the jogging suit was also because I thought, it's like a workout. It's actually you know, I mean, you have to get your body like doing this, you know.
I wondered if it was also a travel airline comfortable pre-airline outfit.
I never wore an airline, but I might try next time.
Maybe not the foot extenders, just the tracksuit. And then also this, and you're adapted to the space somehow.
Well, if I show up like this in JFK, I think
you definitely won't
problem.
be getting on. No, it's the wires are going to stop you. There's another question here. Do you feel that you were looking at this in-between space, between art forms? So in a way, are you working in a space between sculpture and video, like between forms, as well as a space between being live and online? I mean, I guess maybe that's a question to do with the terminal title as well.
And what is the question? If I felt that, or?
Yeah.
Yes, I guess.
Yes, is the short answer.
Yeah.
Do you I mean, as an artist, do you think of yourself as a sculptor, or do you think of yourself?
Yeah,
you do.
I always like to say I'm a sculptor.
Yeah. From Matt John, page 1, it says, "Why grey?"
Why grey? Yeah, first of all, it was because this foam, which is actually also used for sound isolation, that's its natural color. It's a supernatural color. So I used a lot of this because I was thinking about like sound isolation and, you know, like isolating this space down a little bit, making it mute. And so that's how it came up. I wanted to use this material a lot and kind of fill the whole space with this foam and make it a little bit more soft. And then I decided like everything should be this gray. It's like a neutral color and it's like a, you know, this kind of sound in television or something, or when there's like no information.
Yes, like when it goes, I used to call it scribbly as a child, you know, when the TV, analog TV buzzed out, Thank you so much. I think that's all that we've got time
Thank you.
for. Thanks very much for answering the questions, and thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks for realizing it.